2000s, reports of a terrifying Japanese commercial emerged online. Supposedly, it featured two white-colored figures who took turns fading in and out while a sound effect played in the background. Then text would appear saying, quote, "Every 2 seconds, a person dies on Earth," or something along those lines. Despite a handful of recollections and some dedicated search efforts, no videos, images, or even proof of this missing ad has ever appeared. But there are some who claim to have seen it. The mystery began in 2004 on the Japanese image board site 2channel, where anonymous users were discussing various commercials that terrified them in their youth. Towards the bottom of their recollections, one comment reads, quote, "There was a super scary commercial that has stayed in my memory for a long time. There were two white humanoid figures on top of a black background, and they kept making a clanking noise. If I recall correctly, it said that on Earth, one person dies every 2 seconds. When the sound repeated for a second time, one of them disappeared. The next moment, the figure is back in its original spot, and this time, the other one disappeared. The commercial repeated itself over and over." This was the comment that started it all, that ignited interest in an ad long forgotten. To some, this sounded like an educational video meant to show to school children. However, the anonymous user later clarified that it, quote, "wasn't a video, it was on TV." They also specified that the clanking noise was of a, quote, "railroad crossing," and that it might have been used to raise awareness for railroad safety. A different user provided this sketch of what the white figures could have looked like. It's a crudely drawn, low-quality human that somehow manages to look like both a child and an adult. The image's file name, meanwhile, is what the missing ad is known as today, Hitogata, which translates roughly to humanoid. Note that this isn't the official name. Using this image, a third user made the first recreation of this lost ad. Despite receiving some attention and intrigue, no one could find the original advertisement online. The thread eventually died down, with one of the final comments saying, quote, "I hope you can solve the mystery of that humanoid commercial." And just like that, the thread ended, leaving Hitogata as an urban legend. As the years went on, this little mystery was reposted on multiple 2channel threads. Anonymous users from all over Japan chimed in and gave their own thoughts and opinions on Hitogata. Some believe it was only shown in schools, which could explain the ad's strange disappearance. It would have never aired to the general public. And if the commercial is as frightening as some claim it to be, it's no wonder it haunted the minds of school children. However, others disagree, claiming to have seen it on late-night television. Then there's the advertisement's background, with some saying it was an image of railroad tracks, while others believe it to be a solid color, like black or sepia. By the late 2000s, dedicated search threads began appearing on 2channel. A growing community began sharing their vague memories of the ad, and possible methods to find it. In 2010, the second most well-known recreation video was uploaded, as well as another in 2014, neither of which feature a railroad background, as seen in the first recreation. The 2010 video includes narration, but the 2014 video does not, another point of contention. Of all the comments from those claiming to have seen Hirogata, some include a specific location within Japan. Those that do were collected and mapped out accordingly. Areas labeled in red, like Hokkaido, Osaka, and Fukuoka, appear to have the most frequent sightings. Those in yellow, like Tokyo and Nagoya, have some, while the remainder has no reported sightings. It should come as no surprise that there are more reported sightings from the more populated areas, with a few exceptions like Hiroshima. Based on these witnesses, the air times can range from evenings to lunchtime to late at night. But the years are almost consistent, early 90s to early 2000s. The problem is that these claims are unverified. It's impossible to know for sure if these people indeed saw Hirogata. However, there allegedly was an earlier mention of Hirogata from 1999, in which one user recalled, quote, a commercial in which two monochrome people alternately blink. This comment apparently came from a thread about weird commercials found on an old server log, but the thread itself is inaccessible, nor was it ever archived. Its legitimacy is a matter of debate. Perhaps by focusing solely on the 2004 comments, the one that started it all, we can get a better understanding of Hirogata. Assuming the original poster, or the OP, of that thread is in his teens, then let's assume he saw the ad 5 to 10 years ago. This will put us squarely in the 1990s. During this period, Japan's rates were steadily increasing, as this chart shows. In the 1980s, the country experienced a period of tremendous economic growth, but its economy stagnated in the following decade. And when the Asian financial crisis struck in 1997, the number skyrocketed. Railways are also a vital part of Japan's transportation system, with Tokyo handling around 13 billion passengers annually. Unfortunately, they are also far too often the method of among Japanese citizens. An article from Toyo Kezai lists an average of 1 attempt per day. Japan is also home to some of the strangest PSAs, and that's saying a lot, considering how frightening they tend to be. In fact, railroad and traffic safety videos are quite popular in the area. The recently found Super Mario traffic safety video is one such example. Finally, railroad accidents are sadly not uncommon in Japan. In 1991, the Shigaraki train disaster occurred, when two trains collided head-on with each other. 42 people were killed, and over 600 were injured. A few years later, in 1995, a 17-year-old male was killed after his finger got stuck in the train's doors as it closed. He was dragged 91 meters before succumbing to his injuries. From derailments and attacks to suicide attempts, ranging from the 1920s to 100 years later. So Hirogata, a 90s PSA concerning railway safety, seems to fit too perfectly. Which brings me to my next point, but was this even a PSA? The 2004 comment specified that Hirogata was a commercial shown on television. But a commercial for what exactly? What product or service could it possibly be advertising? It's commonly believed that Hirogata is 15 seconds long, as one comment from 2007 claims. But the original 2004 thread makes no mention of its runtime. In fact, the first recreation video is closer to 30 seconds than 15. Whatever type of ad Hirogata is, cannot be ascertained. Its intentions seem PSA-like, but the OP described it as a commercial. Then there's that infamous phrase tagged at the end of the ad. Every 2 seconds, a person dies on Earth. It's a haunting slogan that the OP was most certain about, but is there any truth to it? In just over 3 deaths every 2 seconds, a far cry from the Hirogata slogan. Perhaps the slogan wasn't about total deaths, but rather deaths by method, location, gender, or race. Every 2 seconds, a man dies on Earth, or something similar. One of the earliest leads is the nonprofit organization AC Japan, a distributor of many well-known Japanese PSAs. You can find a handful of them on YouTube, with topics ranging from environmental issues to drug use. Some of them are pretty bizarre. Many people speculated early on that Hirogata was their doing. In a 2012 thread, one anonymous user commented that he supposedly, quote, contacted AC Japan, but the company responded, claiming to have never produced or heard of Hirogata. A reinvestigation by the Lost Media Wiki in 2020 also ruled out AC Japan of being involved. After a letter was sent to the Japanese Red Cross, they responded that they were, quote, not able to find any records on the subject matter you asked about. AC Japan's archives from the 90s were also checked, but, quote, there was nothing applicable. Another popular candidate is JR East, one of the largest railway companies in Japan. Since the 1980s, they've been in charge of several high-speed rail lines throughout the country. They've also dabbled in railroad safety commercials in the 1990s. They made one ad that is pretty close. It features a white test dummy driving a vehicle and colliding with an oncoming train. Likewise, the Lost Media Wiki contacted JR East, as well as a handful of other companies, but disappointingly, they've seemingly yet to respond. To be fair, Japan was dealing with a worldwide issue at the time, so maybe it just slipped their minds. If companies aren't being responsive, perhaps a different type of search is needed. Since the 1960s, Japan has produced commercial yearbooks, which are annual collections of commercials that were broadcasted on a major network. Now, rumor has it that these were already scoured through without a single sight of Hirogata. To be sure, I had to check myself. With the help of fellow YouTuber Sakura Stardust, who's proficient in Japanese, I managed to purchase the yearbooks for 97, 98, 99, 2002, and 2003. We combed through hundreds of pages, a myriad of forgotten obscurities. And while a handful contained similar elements, none were a perfect match. There was one ad that is worth noting. It's about tutoring lessons from the company Benesse, and features 2 stick figures with the ticking sound of a clock in the background. Text appears on screen saying, quote, to those who will enjoy studying. The differences are apparent, but funny enough, this ad also appears to be lost. Some more dedicated searchers have taken a drastic approach. Ordering Japanese Betamax tapes from that time period, most of which are available online, but to date, their efforts have been futile. I spoke with one of the searchers. I wondered how many tapes she had left to scour through. She told me 100. I asked if she believed Hirogata was real. She said, yes. seem too extreme. And she's correct. During the search for Hitogata, a ton of strange commercials were discovered, some of which include striking similarities to the fabled ad. So what if OP was misremembering? What if he got one or more details wrong, or amalgamated different ads together? What if we already found Hitogata? One of the most often cited candidates for Hitogata is a series of TV bumpers called Jungle. These played on Fuji Television during their late-night programming block from 1992 to 1993. If Hitogata was a TV bumper, it would explain why seemingly no product or service was being advertised. There is a Jungle bumper that features a white doll obscured by intense flashing lights before the camera zooms out to reveal more of them lying on the floor. To my knowledge, the chanting in the background has nothing to do with railway safety or is anything like the Hitogata slogan. They are period correct. Late nights and early 90s fit perfectly, and reportedly, Fuji TV got flooded with complaints about this bumper from frightened viewers. They ceased airing after a year, which might explain Hitogata's disappearance. Ultra Q was a science fiction series that aired in Japan during the 1960s. The program featured strange stories involving supernatural phenomena, ghosts, aliens, and of course, giant monsters. Their 25th episode, The Devil Child, featured the wandering spirit of a little girl. And towards the end of the episode, we are treated to this scene. The spirit meets her body, and the two begin walking towards an oncoming train. Thankfully, they're reunited as one and are saved towards the end. The similarities are remarkable, especially in this still. Two whitish figures, a black and white railroad background, and the sound of an oncoming train. The only glaring issue is that Ultra Q is a TV show from the 1960s. There are many examples in Japanese media with one or more similarities to Hitogata. From a jeans factory commercial to an album advertisement, a clip from a David Bowie documentary to a credit card ad. Hundreds of candidates have been proposed, but they have yet to be definitively proven as the fabled Hitogata. However, one supposed commercial convinced many that it was the real deal. The YouTube channel Anime-Ru02 uploaded this video. Some viewers perceive this clip as an ad from the Japanese company Tokuyama. The logo shown at the beginning was theorized to have been misremembered into the blinking white humanoids from Hitogata. And there is a constant railroad sound effect playing in the background. One small problem, this isn't even an actual commercial. It's a short compilation of 3 separate, unrelated logos that resemble Hitogata. The first is from a different Tokuyama commercial. The second is from a public relations company. And lastly, the third logo is from Tommy,